right, hey, and welcome everybody. This is Sherman Ray, and this is the Nevada Conservative Podcast. Hope you're all doing well today. It's a late evening in Las Vegas, and I hope you were all in and tuned in when the president gave his address today. It was riveting. It really was. We're going to do that exclusively about that today because I think it's something really everybody wanted to hear about. And so we're going to be doing that. But before we get starting with any of that stuff, folks, I want to encourage you to go ahead and hit the subscribe button. There's a subscribe button over here someplace. Hit that subscribe button and subscribe to the podcast. Every time that we have one of these out, you can actually be updated on it, that kind of thing. Also, you can go to our website at thenevadaconservative.com. Love to have you there. We're also on our X account, that kind of thing. And so really love to get you. And now we're up on Spotify. Excuse me. Told you folks we'd be up on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, that kind of stuff. So it just takes a couple of days, and we'll actually get it up on our Spotify or up on Apple Podcasts here pretty quick. So all of that, we'll talk a lot more about that in just a minute, but we'll be back in just a minute. Talk a little bit more about the president and his address today. It was just riveting, simply riveting. We'll talk a little bit about that in just a second. This is Sherman Ray. This is Nevada Conservative. We'll be back in just a minute. All right, we are back, folks. Well, I'll tell you, this was a made for primetime network broadcast. The president came out 6 o'clock Pacific time and gave about a 20-minute speech on the war in Iran and kind of an explanation. People needed this. We really did. One day we're kind of doing this, and then the next minute we're dropping bombs all over Iran, and then all of a sudden our gas prices start going south, and so people wanted to find out what the heck is going on, and so president came on and he started talking about it. We're going to go through the entire transcript of it. I've got it right here in front of me, and hit some of the highlights of it. Because I think some of these things go by so quick, we just don't get it. Really don't. And you folks are the kind of people that need to go out and tell everybody about, what's going on, and because you're the ones everybody's going to be asking about these things, about politics wise. Matter of fact, I got a phone call today. I've got another guy who just is running for office, and he wanted some advice on running for office. Now, for those of you excuse me, who don't know, I've run for office before. I ran for city council before, and I've run a couple of campaigns for other people. And some people call me from time to time to ask me my opinions on stuff, and they never listen to me. But at least they call me and ask me for my advice, and then don't listen to me. So we hope that this guy listened to me. And one of the things I wanted to make sure he knew about was that listen to your campaign manager. I know it's really, sometimes you think, those guys don't know what they're doing, but really, some of them are really pretty sharp. They really are. They're very sharp guys. And so you should probably listen to them from time to time, and hopefully that they will steer you down the right path. So President Trump addressed the nation today. And he started out by saying, he says, "Let me begin by congratulating the team at NASA and the brave astronauts on the successful launch of Artemis 2. Many of you watched that liftoff, the first time we've done this since the 70s, where we sent a manned rocket to the moon. And what they're going to do is this moonshot is going to actually go around the moon. So they're going to go way out, and then they're going to come back, and they're going to go on the back side of the moon, which is going to be great. So, going to set us up for some cool things to come. And we're beating the Chinese, because the Chinese want to get up there and they want to put a space station up there, and we're there already. So we've been there a few times. So we've been there, done that. On board were 4 astronauts. One guy had logged the most hours in space. The woman who went there, she's logged the most hours in space for a female. We got a Canadian up there. Yeah, we got a Canadian. And then we have a gentleman who's flying the plane. He's a black guy. And so, come on, brother. Right? So we're very excited about that. And he said something very interesting. He said earlier today, he says, I hope that this will, there'll be a time when we don't have to sit there and worry about saying this is the black guy or this is the woman or something like that. It'll say there's just a great crew member. And that would be great. It would really be great that we can actually do that. So, but anyways, the president did congratulate them, and he said this is going to be amazing. And then he says, he says, as we speak this evening, it's been just 1 month since the United States military began Operation Epic Fury, targeting the world's #1 state sponsor of terror, Iran. In these past 4 weeks, our armed forces have delivered swift, decisive, overwhelming victories on the battlefield. Victories like few people have ever seen before. Tonight, Iran's Navy's gone. Air Force is in ruins. Their leaders, most of them, terrorist regime they led, are now dead. So he had to make sure that, and that happened within the first minutes of the battle. Actually, their command and control of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard, or the IRGC, is being decimated as we speak, and their ability to launch missiles and drones is dramatically curtailed. And their weapons factories and rocket launchers are being blown to pieces. Very few of them are left. And this was how he started. So nothing really much has happened. So contrary to what, other pundits have said on radio and TV, especially Democrats, it just drives me crazy. The people on The View and Joe Scarborough and guys like that, we have just decimated the Iranian war machine. They were going out and they were fueling proxies with drones and with missiles all over the place, and we have gone in and surgical. I believe they've said that the number of airstrikes that they've launched were about 13,000 airstrikes, and of those 13,000 airstrikes, we hit 12,000. 12,300 and something like that. I mean, it's just an amazing accuracy quotient here. And if you kind of look at this kind of compared to what we did in Desert Storm, Desert Storm lasted about 45 days, whatever it was, and the accuracy in Desert Storm was, I believe, 19%, 20%, something like that. We're up to like 90%. I mean, the accuracy of, and excuse me, I shouldn't say that. The number of precision-guided munitions that they had in Desert Storm, I think we're like 19-20%. Now it is like 90%. 90% of what we shoot over at Iran are precision-guided things, which means they're going to hit what they are meant to hit, and that is incredible. So here's something that that maybe you never hear about, and that needs to be said. We are the United States is fighting a global strategic. It's almost like a war game against China and against Russia, and the battlefield is every place on the planet. And what do I mean by that? Well, China gives cover, they give intelligence, they give weapons to all of our enemies. The number one is Iran. So a lot of those things that we're blowing up right now are Chinese-made things. A lot of those things that we're blowing up are Russian-made things. Planes, missiles, radar, that kind of stuff, their defense systems and stuff like that. And so what China's doing is China's looking at all the stuff that we're shooting at them, and they're saying, did this work? Did that work? Did this? And America is going, yeah, this worked and that worked and this worked and that worked. But here's the cool thing about it is we are quantum leaps and bounds ahead of what China is, and we're not even showing them the good stuff. We're not even showing them the good stuff yet. We haven't even gotten to. I heard Jesse Waters talk about the discombobulator machine, and they use that in Venezuela. And what this discombobulator machine, should I even tell you about? Yeah, you've heard this before, haven't you? The discombobulator is like this ray that hits people, right? And it's like it's like a sound wave or something like that. And it makes you violently ill so that you don't want to fight. It makes you discombobulated and makes you vomit, that kind of stuff. And it's just an amazing thing. So we've not even hit them with our lasers or anything like that. Right now we're hitting them with laser guided munitions. So they are smart bombs. They go exactly where they were supposed to go. But we haven't even hit them with lasers, that kind of stuff. And some of this stuff can cut a plane in half. It's just amazing. We've got a lot more to talk about. We really do. So much more to talk about. Let's do this. Let's take a really quick break. I'm going to grab something to drink really quick. And when we come back, we're going to talk a little bit more about what the president talked about tonight on his speech to the nation about the Iran war. We'll be back in just a minute. It's Sherman Ray, and this is the Nevada Conservative Podcast. Alrighty, and we are back to Sherman Ray, and this is the Nevada Conservative Podcast. And some folks were asking about where can they get this broadcast from? And you can actually get this broadcast on our YouTube channel, of course, because many of you are watching this on our YouTube channel. As a matter of fact, I've got our channel open right now on the big screen over here. So if you'd like to check it out, I got something in my mouth there. If you'd like to watch or get in on the conversation, just go over to the podcast section over the Nevada Conservative on our YouTube channel, and you can check this out. I would love for you to be able to check this out. I know I'm watching something, I'm getting hair on my mouth and stuff like that. That's what it is. But if you're watching this if you're listening to us on podcast, you have no idea what I'm talking about right now. So we're talking about the speech that President Trump gave tonight at about 6 o'clock on Pacific Standard Time, about 9 o'clock on the East Coast, and where he was really kind of giving everybody an idea of why we're doing what we're doing. And so we're kind of going through the transcript, and so let's get back into this. He said, "Tonight I'll provide an update on the tremendous progress our warriors have made in Iran and discuss why Operation Epic Fury was necessary for the safety of America and the security of the free world." And this is really what everybody wants to understand. So guys, you're getting something that maybe he didn't clarify before, but he's going to clarify it now. He says, "From the very first day I announced my campaign in 2015, this is good. He said, I vowed that I would never allow Iran to have a nuclear weapon. This fanatical regime has been chanting death to America, death to Israel for 47 years. Their proxies were behind the murder of 241 Americans in the Marine barracks bombing in Beirut, the slaughter of hundreds of our service members with roadside bombs. They were involved in the attack on the USS Cole, and they carried out the countless other heinous acts, including the just horrible, bloody atrocities of October 7th in Israel." And so many people are going, "Oh, but those poor Iranians, they do nothing wrong." No, these guys are not all the Iranian people. We want to make sure everybody understands it. We're talking about the leadership, the fanatical leadership of the Iranian state. they're nuts. They're just simply nuts. And they believe it's their job to usher in the apocalyptic end of the world. And it's going to involve Israel. Just horrible, bloody atrocities of October 7th in Israel. Something that most people never seen anything like it. This murderous regime also recently killed 45,000 of its own people who were protesting in Iran. 45,000 dead. For these terrorists to have a nuclear weapon would be an intolerable threat. The most violent and thuggish regime on earth would be free to carry out their campaigns of terror, coercion, conquest, and mass murder from behind a nuclear shield. I will never let that happen, and neither should any of our other past presidents. And he made an allusion to these other presidents like Barack Obama, and who not only was complicit with the killing of thousands and thousands of people in Israel, but our own men and women, where Barack Obama just basically said, hey, maybe we can just talk to them and they'll be fine. Oh, maybe we'll just talk to them. It should be fine. He goes on to say, he says, and then, very importantly, I terminated Barack Hussein Obama's Iran nuclear deal, a disaster, he says. Obama gave them $1.7 billion in cash. And many of you saw this. We saw this on TV, where we saw this big pallet full of cash. I mean, not a little pallet, a big pallet of cash, like 5 foot tall, big brick of cash. These were frozen assets that were in banks in the United States. Barack Obama said, no, give it to them. Give them the money because you know what? Maybe they'll be nicey nice with us. And that money was basically used to fund their terrorist activities at home and abroad. All the cash they had, flew it by airplane in an attempt to buy their respect and loyalty. But it didn't work. They laughed at our president and went on their mission to have a nuclear bomb. Matter of fact, they probably used that money in making this current version of a bomb. His Iran deal would have led to a colossal arsenal of massive nuclear weapons for Iran. They would have had them years ago, and they would have used them. And that's really what this is all about, guys, is that Iran wants to decimate. They want to kill the big Satan, which is us, America, and they want to kill the little Satan, which is Israel. And past presidents have been giving them money. Barack Hussein Obama, $1.7 billion. President goes on to say, essentially, I did what no other president was willing to do. They made mistakes, and I am correcting them. My first preference was always a path of diplomacy, yet the regime continued the relentless quest for nuclear weapons and rejected every attempt at an agreement. And that's what happened. And so that's why, after trying to negotiate with these guys, the president said, look, okay, you guys are like this close to getting a nuclear device. You're that close to that breakout level of enrichment of uranium where we're not going to be able to control you. So they said that basically Iran, if they wanted to, because Iran says, oh, we're just using this for, commercial purposes. Well, 20% is commercial purposes if you want to use nuclear, if you want to enrich uranium. They were at 60%. And in a few weeks, this is what experts are saying, literally in a couple of weeks, they would have had enough uranium enriched to 90%, which is weapons grade, to put together 10 to 11 nuclear bombs. Now, here's the thing about it, folks, is they actually have the means to get those nuclear bombs outside of Iran. Not only outside of Iran to hit Israel, but as they showed, they have intercontinental or ballistic missiles that can hit Paris, that can hit Britain, that can hit Germany or Spain. And literally, within another year or so, they could probably hit the U.S. mainland. And we could not let them do that. And that's why the president went in there. Matter of fact, he went in with Iron Hammer. This was a great, um, a great segue into this. He said, for this reason, on June, I ordered a strike on Iran's key nuclear facility in Operation Midnight Hammer. Nobody's ever seen anything like it. Two beautiful B-52s performed magnificently. We totally obliterated their nuclear sites. The regime then sought to rebuild their nuclear program at a totally different location, making clear that they had no intention of abandoning their pursuit of nuclear weapons. And that's the crazy part about it, folks, is that we put bombs down air conditioning, air shafts, and just destroyed everything they had in there. Their nuclear capabilities of making, enriching uranium. And they just said, no, we're going to go someplace else and do it. And the president said, this we cannot live with. There's no way. You want to do this. You think that it's your destiny, your manifest destiny to do this. And we're saying, no, it is not. It's not going to be that way. And we're going to show you what we mean. Let's take a real quick break, folks. We'll be back in just a second. This is Sherman Ray, and this is the Nevada Conservative. Back in just a minute. Wow. All right. We are back, folks. This is Sherman Ray, and this is the Nevada Conservative Podcast. Thank you all for being a part of the broadcast. And we just want to encourage you, folks, that if you like what you're hearing, go ahead and write to us. Write to us at the Nevada Conservative at gmail.com. That's the Nevada Conservative at gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you. And definitely subscribe to the page. We'd love to hear from you and make sure you're subscribing. Let your friends know all about it. You can actually get this podcast on Spotify now, which is great. And you can see the video, of course, here on YouTube. But you can actually, if you want to just take it with you, just go ahead and take me with you. Let your friends know about the Jamaican guy over in Las Vegas who's talking about politics and stuff. I'm reading about the president's. He gave a speech today and talking about why we are at war with Iran and why we've made an incursion in there. And so we're reading part of the transcript because this is stuff that you really need to know, folks. This is stuff that you not only need to know, but you need to tell your friends about. This is why we went into Iran, because of some of the stuff that they were going to, because they have got enough, they amassed enough nuclear material that they were that close to becoming North Korea in the Middle East. Except for North Korea is not going to shoot a missile at you. They're great, they're crazy, but they won't shoot a missile off. Iran would. How do we know that? Well, it's because they've already sent ballistic missiles to countries within the Middle East that have nothing to do with this fight at all. Yeah, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, places like that. These guys have sent ballistic missiles. Iran has. These guys have they're not bombing Iran. So what do you think they would do with a nuclear bomb? They would probably use it. Let's get back to, because we only have a couple more minutes left, and I really got so much more that I want to talk to you about. He says, and I'm reading from the transcript of the president's speech today. He says, that they were rapidly building a stockpile of conventional ballistic missiles. And they soon would have enough missiles that could reach the American homeland, kind of like we were talking about. Europe and virtually every other country on the earth or basically within their sights. I'm going to skip down just a little bit. He says, as he stated in his announcement of Epic Fury, Operation Epic Fury, our objectives are very simple and clear. And these are the objectives, and I wanted to get to this. It says, we are systematically dismantling the regime's ability to threaten America or project power outside of their borders. Okay, I'm going to read that again. He says, our objectives are very simple and clear. We're systematically dismantling the regime's ability to threaten America or project power outside of their borders. That means eliminating Iran's navy, which is now absolutely destroyed, hurting their air force and their missile program at levels never seen before, and annihilating their defense industrial base. They said, we've done all of that already. Okay, their navy's gone, their air force is gone, their missiles are just about used up and are beaten. Taken together, these actions will cripple Iran's military, will cripple their militaries, crush their ability to support terrorist proxies, and deny them the ability to build a nuclear bomb. And that's the bottom line. So Joe Scarborough, you just poor. The girls on The View, all these just nuts. Some of these folks are just nuts. I'm just so disappointed. These Democrat leaders who are out there going, "Oh, this is terrible," and he's a king, and guys. Here's everybody. Everybody before Donald Trump was a wimp, is what it was. Nobody wanted to be the one to do this. Nobody wanted to be the one who said, Iran, we're going to poke you in the eye. Nobody wanted to poke that bear in the eye. Donald Trump did. And you know how we know how he's a very sincere guy? It's because, and somebody mentioned this just a little while ago, it's an election year. You don't start a war during an election year. As a matter of fact, you avoid it at all costs. As a matter of fact, you do everything you can to make sure everything's just floating just right. You don't want anything to happen unless something dire is afoot. And that's what President Trump said. He said, guess what, guys? I can't wait. I can't wait till after the midterms. I can't wait till... These guys are a week away from getting a bomb. So I think some of the folks that are out there, beating their chest and, clutching their pearls at the fact that the president went in there and is kicking butt and taking names, need to really kind of take a step back and think, man, gosh, maybe that guy, he's never been wrong before. We may not like him, but he's never been wrong before. And maybe he was right that these Iranians probably are that close to getting a nuclear bomb. Because nobody knew that they could shoot a missile 2,500 miles. They thought maybe they could get 1,500 miles, maybe 1,000, something like that. They never imagined that something would go that far, and they did. And how do we know, folks, that they don't have something that even goes even farther? We do know this, that they would use it. No doubt about it. He says, the president goes on to say, and he says, tonight I'm pleased to say that his core strategic objectives are nearly complete. This is, there's so much more. There really is. I think one of the things that, and of course he alluded to our partners in NATO and telling them, look, guys, you probably need to go ahead and take back the Strait of Hormuz because you guys need this oil more than we do. We don't use any of the oil, rarely. Any of the oil in the Strait of Hormuz. So he says, you know what? You could do this. You could actually buy, he's got two suggestions. One, I'd suggest, number one, that you buy all of your oil from the United States. He says we have plenty of it. Or number two, build up some delayed courage. Should have done it before. Should have done it with us as we asked. Go to the Strait and just take it, he says. Just go ahead and take it. Protect it. Use it for yourselves. Don't allow Iran to go in there and, make this difficult for everybody. We don't really have time to go on the rest of what he said. I wish we could. But basically, the president said this in essence, and I'm going to end on this. He said, Iran, I'm going to give you one of two choices. Either you, in the next 2 weeks, you have a come to Jesus moment and you take our deal of total disarmament never trying to seek to get a nuclear device again. End your ambitions of projecting power around the world. Or number two, you can wait and screw around and find out what happens, because he's going to blow you back to the Stone Age. And that's really what he said. And he basically said, and I want you to understand something, folks. I've learned a lot from the president, and I think a lot of people have learned a lot. He is not a liar, and he is not to be trifled with. If he says he's going to do something, more than likely he's going to do it. And if he says he's going to blow you back to kingdom come, here's what I would have probably. I was telling my wife about this in prep for this show. I said, you know what he should have done? He should have said, with a tear coming down his eyes, I don't want to kill all of you, but I will. Don't mess with me. Don't mess with the USA, because I cannot allow you to do this. From my heart, guys, from my heart, I'm saying to the leadership of Iran, I don't know if you're listening to this, who knows? But if you are, do not mess with Donald Trump. Do not mess with the United States. End your ambitions of bringing in an apocalyptic end to the world, okay? If it's going to end, guys, you don't have to be the one to do it, because it's going to happen anyways, okay? You don't have to rush anything in, okay? But you will end your lives, just like your Ayatollah, his life is ended, and just like all of your other leaders, their lives are ended. Yours will be too. But it doesn't have to be that way. You can live to a ripe old age, waiting for your Savior to come, or you can rush it. Either way, you will not win this. Anyways, this has been Sherman Ray. This has been for the Nevada Conservative. I thank you guys for being a part of the broadcast, folks. And once again, I encourage you to go ahead and go to Spotify, check out the broadcast. I'll probably have it up in the next hour or so. And we've already got our second broadcast up there, and you can check that out also. We're going to try to do this each and every day and try to get in, at least get some of the highlights of some of the great stuff that's going on in the world. And we hope that you are able to come along on the ride with us. Anyways, this has been Sherman Ray for the Nevada Conservative. Thank you once again for being a part of the broadcast, folks. And we will see you again tomorrow for more of the Nevada Conservative with Sherman Ray. Bye-bye.